I'm a sucker for a good love story, and that is at the core of this film.
Well, the difference with this script and all the other Tarzans is we went for a romance between Tarzan and Jane.
It was a script that kind of had everything. But fundamentally, Tarzan is a very romantic film.
The mere notion that he will go to the ends of the earth to get her back, just as a girl, kind of makes you a little bit giddy. One of the first things David said when he showed me the script and I asked what would the next step be, I'm really interested, he said, well, meet Alex and see if you guys have chemistry, because that's going to be hugely important to the whole film. So we met up and instantly got along.
I think it's difficult with someone like Margot to not have great chemistry, because she's just the most lovely, warm personality and so open, and we had so much fun together.
I think they work really well together. Margot's very kind of playful and warm and has lots of energy, and Alex, because of the role, needed to be very thoughtful, sometimes very delicate and very introspective before he becomes completely Tarzan. And so that combination worked really well.
So we worked together on kind of intimacy and building a kind of almost a physical history between the two of them, kind of a chemistry. Not that we really needed it, because they had an incredible kind of charisma and energy between them, but just finding what some of kind of the softer moments might be in their relationship.
The storyline itself is 8 years down the track. We don't live in the jungle, we live back in England, and you can feel that it's not home for them.
When you first get to know him in the movie, you can tell that he's not happy. He's very, very much in love with Jane, but it obviously affects their relationship.
I think it's really clear that he's out of balance, and there is sort of a caged element to who he is by denying himself who he really is.
We only have a few scenes to really establish that strong relationship.
So it was crucial to feel that connection and to feel the love between John and Jane, because the movie's about these two coming back together, and if you're not invested in that, the movie won't work. We were up on a branch and
really our main concern was like, don't fall out of the tree, don't fall out of the tree.
Trying to make it look like intimate and passionate.
And romantic and epic. Graceful. When I first read the script, the scene that stood out to me most, I think, was the scene in the tree where Jane's already sitting in the tree and he climbs up, and not a lot was said, but you know, it was a really deep, emotional, romantic scene.
I thought it was such an interesting take on a very famous story. Instead of following the origin story of him growing up in the jungle, all that is told in the movie in flashbacks.
I really liked that we got to see the younger Jane and Tarzan characters and the beginnings of their romance.
So the flashbacks are really about how, as a young girl, she's the one who teases him out of the jungle. She's the one who brings him back into society. And it's really about how Jane ultimately saved John from this very primitive life.
When Christoph's character takes her on the steamboat, it was very important that it felt like we needed each other, that it wasn't just Jane was a damsel in distress.
Jane had to be feisty and passionate, and that's why this isn't the old-fashioned Tarzan. She's not a wilting sort of flower waiting to be plucked or to be saved.
You wouldn't want a fey Jane sort of following meekly behind. She's a modern-day Jane, not a Jane of the 30s and 40s.
She's a really fiery character, and we've had a lot of fun with doing stunts and throwing punches and fighting back wherever possible, and also a really great dynamic with Christoph Waltz's character.
That woman.
I think that John, or Tarzan, he's vulnerable without her. He really needs her. And that was very important to explore that aspect of their relationship.
He can't really survive without her. So it's really about this beautiful notion of how people make each other complete. It's a very romantic, old-fashioned love story. And I think there's a need for that in our culture. There's a need for it in people's lives, and it's underestimated, undervalued, and underappreciated.
At the end of the day, you just want them to be together.